This is going to be a video for everybody with the mindset of I can't do semen retention anymore. I've seen a lot of this kind of stuff going on recently, especially for the last 2 or 3 weeks. There's been a lot of people saying that the lustful temptations are just too much. I can't do it anymore. I can't do this. If you tell yourself you can't do something, you're not going to be able to do it. You have to believe the story that you tell yourself in order for there to be a story anyway in your head, right? So why not have the story be, I can do this. I don't have to sacrifice who I am to protect this image of who I am. You know, this is something that I've learned recently is the second that you sacrifice who you are for the image of who you believe you want to be or should be, that's where all things really start to fall out of place. And so on this Semen Retention Sunday episode, I'm calling you to really, if you're practicing semen retention, or as a woman, if you are being celibate and you're finding the celibacy journey or the semen retention journey just too damn hard, like, I can't do this anymore. Well, look, I understand, okay? I've been on semen retention since May of 2022, so it's been, I'm closer to the 3-year mark than I am the 2-year mark at this point, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that it will get easier through time. And the temptations are always going to be there, but they're not necessarily as distracting or as blatantly in your face. And yes, the more that you level up, I made a video the other day, new levels, new devils is no joke. This is absolutely true, especially in the case of retention and celibacy, because the more that you're able to discipline your sexual perversions, because that's where a lot of this stuff comes from, is a lot of people are sexually perverted, but they don't want to be. They don't want to have these fantasies going on in their minds, but it's like they can't help themselves. So they're drawn to watch other people participate through a screen acts of sexual relations. That's kind of weird. That's kind of perverted if you think about it. But because everybody's doing it nowadays, it doesn't seem like it's so crazy. But it actually is pretty weird. I mean, think about all of the ancestors that we've had before us that have had to go through certain things that they've had to go through to get us to where we are now. And instead of creating something meaningful and beautiful, we are so attached to our fleshly desires and pleasures that we'd rather turn the lights off, turn on Pornhub, and start watching people do it on a screen. Like, that's where most people are in the society nowadays. And it's unfortunate, but if you can go 2 weeks, like, I'm pretty sure anybody that's gone more than 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, as far as the retaining goes, you're basically the top 5 to maybe even 1% of the population, depending on what part of the world you're in. You're in the top 5 to 1% automatically for just having the certain level of discipline to do this. Okay, I've only known of maybe 3 or 4 other people that have gone a true celibacy or semen retention journey as long as I have at this point. In fact, I don't really know anybody in my physical community that has practiced this discipline, and fewer even know about it. I guess maybe that's not the exact way to say it. It's like few know about semen retention, even fewer have the discipline to actually do the discipline. And so there's a lot of people in the world that have this I can't do this mindset. Throw that crap away. Like, take what you think as I can't do this, wrap that up in a ball, crumble it up, and then Kobe that crap, because you got to give honor to him as you throw that crap in the garbage and you start striving to be great again, okay? We've got to make sure that we are laying a foundation and setting a precedent going forward for the future generations, that it's not really okay to play with yourself. Like, sure, you know what? You don't need to beat yourself up if you fall into this, okay? But it's not normal. Let's say that. It's not normal to play with yourself. It's just not. You know, lions don't play with themselves. And if you want to be a lion in this world, if you want to be a man that wants to be respected, that wants to go after what he wants, that knows what he wants and actually goes after it as well, and has the confidence and assertiveness to really move in the world, in which he's not socially scared, because he can see that I'm the danger here. Like, I don't need to be fearful of anybody else because I know what I'm capable of. That's the kind of mentality you get with semen retention, okay? There have been times where I walk into a room, especially when I was eating more of a carnivore diet like a year ago. There'd be times when I walked into a room and I literally felt like a lion. I literally did feel like just a solid, aggressive, but not necessarily mean person. And I don't really do the carnivore diet now, even though a lot of my diet consists of meat. I don't necessarily do a lot of that. And I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't eat meat. That's not what I'm saying here. I want to focus on the topic at hand, which is how you need to get rid of that can't do mentality. Anytime you tell yourself a story in your mind, anytime you tell yourself, well, this is what happened and this is why it's happening, and now this is going to be my destiny because of it. A lot of people are committed to fulfilling self-fulfilling prophecies. And these self-fulfilling prophecies are oftentimes really damaging to the individual in which they're trying to set for themselves. Why? Because negative emotions are a lot more jolting to the human experience than positive emotions. Have you ever met people that are really positive and that have a pretty positive outlook, and you wonder how they have such a positivity and radiance about them, especially if there's somebody that doesn't really have a lot going for them, like on the outside? Like, this person doesn't really seem like they have much, and yet at the same time they have way more joy than anybody else you've ever seen. And that somebody just might be you, by the way, because I know that's happened to me quite a few times, and still to this day happens quite a few times. As you guys can see here, like, this is my apartment. This is my one bedroom, and I don't really have a lot as far as materials go. And the stuff that I do have, I just have it as very meaningful. So I've got a lot of books. I've got my guitar, of course, paintings, a bed. And even then, my bed, I don't know exactly why, but it's almost like my bed is too comfortable. I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that, but it's almost like I've been in for so long. Like, I was raised in not necessarily the worst conditions, but not necessarily the best either. And so, like, being in a cozy bed, like being warm and having the heat going and all that, like, it's kind of different for me sometimes, and it's in a different way. It's not like I was ever, raised in a harsh physical environment, but emotionally and spiritually it was very harsh. There was really neither God nor love in that household where I grew up. But it's just kind of weird how it's almost like being in a warm bed is almost too cozy. Like, I need the floor now. And in fact, that's what I've been doing recently. Like, if I wake up in the middle of the night and I can't go back to sleep, I sleep on the floor. And I know that might sound kind of weird, but this is just part of the process of just staying disciplined and staying in a state of mind where you're conquering. You're willing to go through the hardships. You're going to be able to surpass anything that places your way, because we as men don't need comfort. So many men are seeking comfort, and people are getting upset at the fact that they might have to do some hard things. And it's like, I totally get that. I really do. Because I'm still to that point sometimes where I'm scared to do the hard things. Like, I don't want to be going out and running in the snow. I don't want to be going out and trying to build something in cold weather. I don't like doing that kind of stuff, but I'm going to try to do it anyway. I'm going to try to make sure that I'm orienting my life in a way to where I'm setting myself up for future success and the probability of that continuing to reach higher and higher levels rather than lowering the probability of success and decreasing the probability of success. And to me, success is dependent upon what your criteria is, of course, right? Like my criteria of success might not be your criteria of success, but your criteria of success is your criteria of success. And you need to outline that, what that exactly looks like. Instead of saying, I can't do this, I can't do that. You've got to be able to tell yourself, I can do this because this is what I want to see happen in my life down the road. And in order to do that, I have to do X, Y, and Z. So if I want to see Z come into fruition, I've got to do X and Y. And I can do this. Even if you don't really believe you can do it, you've got to say, I can do X, I can do Y, because I'm going to get Z one way or another. This is the kind of mentality you're going to create for yourself on semen retention as well. And this is why I wanted to talk about this on this Semen Retention Sunday episode, is because we've got to be okay with being uncomfortable sometimes. We've got to be okay with wanting to put ourselves in more difficult positions. Because, yeah, the temptations are real on semen retention, okay? The temptations are great. And you might experience in your dreams like the succubus or the Jezebel or the narcissist trying to take your life force. But that doesn't mean that you can't ensure that you're going to be on track still. Yep, there's going to be obstacles coming in your way, but that doesn't mean that you can't overcome them, and that doesn't mean that you can't wage war on your setbacks. If you can wage war on your setbacks, you can do nearly anything that you want in this life. Okay, but it has to be you are waging war on the internal demons and the internal wimp and the internal, as David Goggins would say, you've got to wage war on that inner bitch that you have in your mind, okay? And move forward, because that little voice inside of you that's saying, I can't do it, really listen to that voice and see where the root of that voice is coming from. Where is the root of that voice coming from? Exactly. Because if you can manage to find out the roots of why you think the way that you do, you can replant seeds of how to move forward, and so you can blossom into something more beautiful, and that's actually going to be more in line with who you are. Remember at the beginning of this video I said, don't sacrifice who you are for what the image of you think or believe you are to be. If you are sacrificing who you really are for the sake of the image that you want to cling to, that's your own damn fault. That's your own fault. And there's nobody to blame except for yourself. And I know that might be tough to hear for some people, but that's just the truth. Okay, so, man, I'm feeling a lot of energy right now. I'm really fired up. I've gotten a lot of rest. Man, sleeping on the floor was so good for me. I don't know why, but it's like that little bit of uncomfortability set me up for being just able to move forward. And again, I don't know why that's happened to me exactly recently, but just having this kind of desire to be uncomfortable, to stay uncomfortable, take cold showers, go to the gym more than you think you can, longer than you think you can. Of course, you don't want to hurt yourself, but so stay stretching, recover well. If you need to ice your knees afterward. If you need to ice your shoulder afterward. Take care of your body, take care of yourself, because the way that you take care of yourself is going to be showing how you can take care of other people. If you can take care of yourself just fine, guess what? Learning how to be selfish is going to be the best thing for you. And I'm not saying that you need to be a narcissist or you need to be, me. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to learn how to be like it is to be who you are. You need to be like yourself. Selfish. You need to be more like yourself. And in order to do that, it takes staying away from the distractions. Stop telling yourself you can't do that. I can't do this. I can't do that. Reframe that story. Where is that lion inside of you? Really, what is that lion hungry for? Is it, and are you telling yourself you can't do this because there's some kind of thing going on with your inner child? Do an inner child meditation. Ask what that inner child wants to be heard. Like, how do I say this? What does the inner child in you want to say, and how can you listen to what the child in you wants to be saying? Like, how can you listen to this inner child? What can you do for the inner child? You have to learn how to self-parent yourself. Because if you can't parent yourself, if you can't discipline yourself, what in the hell do you think you can do if you have a family down the line? You're going to be a parent to the actual child? No, you've got to learn how to parent yourself before you can be a parent to somebody else, truly. There's a lot of people that are mothers and fathers, but they're not parents. Okay, and I know that better than most people. And this is, and it's because I was the child to a mother and a father, but they weren't parents necessarily. And I'm not trying to be rude or dishonor them. I'm just saying that that's exactly how it was. And a lot of my mentality before I was spiritually awakened 6 years ago was based off of the learned self-helplessness and self-sabotage that I went through. Because growing up, if I ever started to succeed in anything, if I ever started to exceed my expectations, if I ever started to impress myself, holy crap, like I actually did that. Wow, I actually did that. And I gave myself a little pat on the back. Guess what? My parents would see that and they would try to downplay it. They would try to make me, well, yeah, but you did that, but you didn't do this. You know, I got a 3.9 GPA one semester. I remember this very vividly. And for a while, I had a very hard time forgiving my dad for it. But I had a 3.9 GPA. I was doing the best I could. I had college level courses as a junior in high school. I had college level courses. I had a 3.9 GPA, and because they were AP classes. And at the parent-teacher conferences, my dad said, oh, well, there's still room for improvement. And he was dead serious. He wasn't joking. Like, he was dead serious. And I couldn't believe it. I went home and I was like, I had like straight A's. I had pretty much straight A's, and it still wasn't good enough. Like, what else could I have done? I had no clue. And so this kind of mindset growing up and reorienting the story of my life to say, no, you know what? I'm going to give myself credit for the things that I've done, and I'm not going to judge myself so harshly to the point in which I degrade myself and I demoralize myself because I'm so used to trying to critique who I am. Because that kind of parenting tactic, that's not just how my dad was treating me, that's how my dad was treating himself. And I had to recognize that. I had to recognize that my dad was treating me just the same way he would treat himself. Like, that was really a big thing that I learned throughout my spiritual awakening process, was like, I had to listen to what my inner child was telling me. And I had to believe in myself again. I had to believe that I can do this. So stop telling yourself that you can't do it, because you can do it. There was once a time where I never thought I would be able to amount to anything in my life. Want to talk about rock bottom? That's rock bottom. And so many people that are reaching out to me about the kind of stuff like, oh, I can't do retention, I can't do this, I can't do that. And yet they've got so many great things going for them. And you're not looking at the great things, and you're so focused on your flaws that you're blindsided to what you can do. I'm not saying you shouldn't look at your flaws, because we all have flaws. But if you pay more attention to the flaws instead of maximizing, you need to learn how to maximize praise and minimize punishment. Because if you can maximize the praise for inside yourself of what you're doing while simultaneously knowing your weak spots, that's going to lead you to not only develop more discipline, because there's going to be positive emotion there. There's going to be positive emotion. And there's going to be ways where you can reward yourself when you set a goal, and you can reward yourself based off of the goal. You might not hit every goal, but that's okay. Because guess what? You can reorient things. You can learn, okay, how did I do this right here? How did I do this wrong here? What did I do right? What did I do wrong? What happened here? Then what happened here? Then what happened here to get me to this point? And if you've had great intentions, there's nothing wrong with you falling off. Okay? Like, obviously I'm not going to advocate for that. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, just fall off the horse, just no. I'm saying if you do fall off the horse, get the back on. What else are you going to do? You got to learn from it. It's kind of like a child like touching a stove or something, right? Or like where's those electrics? Or the electricity outlets. Like if you take a fork or something and you put it in the outlet and you get zapped, you're probably not going to do that again, huh? Well, now you can learn after you put the fork in the outlet, so to speak. Okay, I'm not going to do that again. It's the same kind of process with spiritual life. You've got to learn how to heal your spirit so that you can move forward. Okay? So with all that being said, if you do want to join a godly community where we are showing support, love, and growth for each other, the Regal Change Academy is where you want to be. We have the free Discord available with a bunch of free resources as well for meditation, healing, semen retention, dreams, etc. And then in the paid school community, which is school is an all-in-one community and based platform and course platform where you can engage with other people. We can have weekly calls. You can do classes on your own time, etc. We have classes like the Godlike Savage Workshop, Semen Retention Mastermind, Entrepreneurship, Dreams, Art of War. We have a bunch of other classes available. You'll also get 2 weekly Bible study calls as part of the membership, as well as a weekly congregation call where we talk about a variety of different topics and subjects. And it just dawned on me that this is going to be the last Semen Retention Sunday episode of 2024. So let's get ready for 2025. Let's stay on the grind. Let's have the mindset of we can do this. I can do this. We're going to move forward one way or another. All right? So peace be with you all. Till next time.